Zach Rhoades joins us once again to take a look at 900 Global's new supposed light oil ball, the XPonent Pearl, which releases on February 16th. Zach is bowling on the Keiko Chromium lane condition that we always use for testing. It's challenge pattern at just under a 7-to-1 ratio, 42 feet long, 25.5 mils. That puts it on the heavy side of medium for both volume and length. It's not as easy as a house shot, but not as punishing as a sport pattern. I also have Zach's layout information up on the screen in both languages. Fairly standard pinup layout on this one. He also broke the surface shine lightly by hand with a 3000 pad just to help blend the reaction. I'm going to give you the details first while we watch to get your eyes warmed up, then we're going to go back and tackle it zone by zone to talk about the adjustments he made when moving around, where it felt the most comfortable, where he felt like he had to help it the most, so on and so forth, just to get deeper and give you a much better idea where it's going to fit both for him and for you. The XPonent Pearl is one of the weird ones, so buckle up. On paper, it's just a Pearl XPonent, same shrapnel 2.0 core that comes in a low and rolly 248 RG and a medium 042 differential. Stronger than an IQ Tour, but not quite as big of a core as is in the Phase 2. It's very squarely in Daredevil territory, which creates a little more dynamic take on the IQ Tour type of ball motion. The cover is where it goes sideways from what we're actually seeing. The Reserve Blend 702 cover, according to the website, was designed, quote, to be the cleanest cover in the 900 Global line. So many bowlers tell us that their center doesn't put out any oil. This will be the premier option within the 900 Global line to attack those lighter oil conditions and or beat up lane surfaces. However, what we're actually watching is this thing being an effing monster on a pattern where it should be several balls down from an exotic gem and at least one ball down from the Attention Star, yet it's out-hooking both of them. He only threw one shot from the straighter zone, had trouble getting it down the lane from the third arrow zone without throwing it out the window, and only when he got into fourth arrow did it start to get somewhat comfortable. Simo was throwing this one at the US Open as well, so I think you can safely throw the spec sheet out the window on this one. It's a very heavy rolling ball that, for me, seems like a throwback to something like the Wrecker, Punch-Out, or MVP and MVP Pearl. We actually used to joke that the MVP felt like an HP 5 ball because it was not just insanely strong and sharp for the price point, it was just a beast, period. In the deepest zone, you can see it finally get down the lane and start to resist the angle a little, but it was still peeling off the ditch and throwing pins everywhere. Again, for the straighter zone, just not an option, no reason to throw another shot from there. He had to throw it as hard from the third arrow zone as he typically would throw everything from straighter because if he let up on it a bit, it was stopping and diving. It took a little extra time to adjust because we were both a little in shock at watching how much this ball was getting done. This is kind of along the lines of Motive saying the Venom Shock is a light oil ball. It's good for a chuckle, but again, you completely ignore the literature and take it how it is. This is looking like easily the biggest bang for your buck on the market if you want a stronger shiny ball look in a package that's still somewhat cleanish. I think the biggest compliment I can give it is that it kind of reminds me of an HK22 ball. I've been really impressed with the B7 covers so far on the stuff that I've thrown. The combination of strength and stability while still being really responsive has been eye-opening, and that's what this ball looks like to me. Very dynamic, but once he gets into the right zone on the lane, also very controllable. It's a surprisingly aggressive ball. Zach was able to stay aggressive with it through the deepest zone, and that in turn made the hit and pocket presence extra impressive. No loss of energy. It almost seemed to accelerate on the back end, actually. This one's definitely an eyebrow raiser. Taking a look at the new chart, this ball lands in a surprising place. It shouldn't be close, but it's nearly as strong as the Attention Star. Now, despite being an ASIM, the Attention still has a really clean cover. The XP Pearl's cover should still be a little cleaner, but they're not as far off as you'd think. The XP Pearl rolls pretty heavy, but it's still fairly clean. It's not something you're going to have to fight to get down the lane, but it's going to be stronger and earlier than you might expect. It's firm down lane, definitely a little slower than the Attention. It actually seems to be somewhere in between the Star and the Exotic. It's not exotic slow, but not star fast. Of course, that's not a huge gap to shoot, though, realistically. By contrast, we're comparing to the original XPonent, same layout and surface prep. Quite different experience here. The OG is decidedly weaker, easier down the lane, smoother and more buttery, but still very effective. It doesn't have the wow factor of the Pearl as far as the optics go, but it does on the scoreboard. Where the Pearl was unusable from the couple zones to the right, the XP was right at home, and really the Pearl should have just been a cleaner and sharper version of this. I'm not sure which wires got crossed here, but this is actually kind of comical. It's like the Pearl mistakenly got the exotic gem or Summit Peak cover instead of the premier option for lighter or beat up lane conditions cover. Error or not, the XPonent Pearl is definitely a lot more ball than advertised, but it manages to be quite a bit more than just a ball that hooks more than it's supposed to. People have unfortunately developed an eye for a sharp move on the back end, so that's why company advertisements focus on a strong back end motion, messengers, etc. Because even if it's supposed to be a smoother or weaker ball, people equate a ball turning sideways to higher quality for some reason. Or as long as the ball goes nuts on the back end, they don't care whether it actually knocks the pins down or not. In this case, I think it's the best of both worlds. It's a really sexy ball motion that also delivers on the performance side. Once again though, buyer beware, it's definitely not the lighter oil ball it's being advertised as. It really seems like this ball is in Duo, Summit Peak, or Sublime territory, and just to illustrate, here are a few shots with the Summit Peak. You can see the same strong, chuggy, punchy ball roll that's doing the same things at the same distance down the lane, and then when you flip back and contrast it with the XPonent that's actually a lighter to medium oil ball and watch it easily glide several feet further and then ease into the pocket, it's pretty easy to see which ball the XP Pearl more closely resembles. Going back to the chart, and yeah, it's weird, the original XP is definitely just a straight up medium strength ball. It fits exactly where it should fit as an IQ Tour type of ball with a little more differential. The XP was just clearly the weaker, cleaner, and smoother ball. Zach's rolls exactly like Angel's, and you haven't seen it yet, but Tobias's original XP rolls the same too, so we'll have to see if his XP Pearl is as crazy as Zach's. The XPonent Pearl releases with the Harsh Reality and Rotogrip's Attention Star on February 16th. I also have an Attention Star review up for Zach, and while he doesn't have the Harsh Reality yet, we will have that review coming soon. Down in the description is a link to Bowler's Mart that will get any of the balls featured in this video ordered for you. I do have to note, of course, that I do receive a 5% commission on all sales through the links. And of course, don't forget my code ROSEDALL10 to get 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.